She's a level 1 with level 10 pre-bleached ends. I gave her a bleach touch-up and I toned her to a level 9 ice blonde. In this session, I'm going to use a flat iron to break and reset the hair's hydrogen bonds. Actually, this is the second time we're breaking and resetting hydrogen bonds. When I shampooed, conditioned, and then I used the blow dry to thermally smooth her hair. During that process, I also broke and reset hydrogen bonds. We have our online masterclass on our platform at beautywellnesshaircare.com. We go deeper into all the bonds and the structure of the hair and how they're affected when we style hair. It's important that we understand exactly what the hair strand is. Here we see in this example the cortex. That's in the middle of the hair where all of the action happens. That's permanent. Then we have the cuticle layers. They look like fish scales and they open and close. When the hair is overly porous, those scales are open. Then you have the keratin fiber bundles. They're intertwined with the pigments and the lipids. Here's a better view. It's like we cut a strand of hair in half. Once again, we can see the cortex where everything that's permanent happens. Relaxers, cold waves, bleach, permanent hair color. Then you have the cuticle layers. You have the epi, the exo, and the endo. And I didn't mention the medulla. That's a hollow strip in the inside of the hair strand. It's not always there in everybody's hair. If your hair is fine, you don't have a medulla. In this client's hair, I affected the cortex layer as well as the cuticle layers. So the bleach, when I gave her a bleach touch-up, that penetrates. That causes the hair strand to swell, the cuticles open, and the bleach product can get in there into the cortex layer where the pigments and the lipids are all intertwined with those keratin bundles. I lifted this client's new growth to a level 9. Her ends were previously bleached to a level 10. I dropped a level 9 ice gold demi-permanent hair color on her hair as a toner. I'm using a ceramic flat iron at 350 degrees to smooth and polish her hair. I'm finishing the second step of the thermal smoothing process. Ceramic flat irons are best for fragile, fine, thin, brittle, damaged, and color-treated hair. Ceramic flat irons, they heat up really quickly and the heating element distributes the heat evenly across the device's surface. Ceramic hair straighteners, they also produce negative ions. And you know, our hair naturally produces positive ions, and it's those positive ions that causes our hair to frizz, become really, really rough. So the negative ions emitted from the blow dryers and the ceramic flat irons, what they do is they neutralize those positive charges and they cause the hair to be smoother and silkier and to resist frizzing. You can see how beautiful and shiny her hair is every time I use the flat iron. I'll leave a link below so you can see the video where I use the ceramic and ionic blow dryer with the ionic and ceramic round brushes to thermally smooth her hair. I'm using 2 sizes of flat iron, the 1/8 inch ceramic flat iron you can buy on our platform, and the 1 inch flat iron is tourmaline. Please click the subscribe button, give us a thumbs up, click the bell, let us know you appreciate our content. What's happening when I'm flat ironing this hair is I'm breaking and rearranging the hydrogen bonds. When we're dealing with hair, there are 3 primary bonds we deal with. There's the hydrogen bonds, the ionic bonds or salt bonds, and the disulfide bonds. All of these bonds are contained within the cortex layer. The keratin fiber bundles, the pigments, the lipids, the bonds, they're all intertwined. Heat and water, they can change the ionic bonds, the salt bonds, as well as the hydrogen bonds. Low heat can break the hydrogen bonds, and that's what gives us the silky smooth hair and the body from the flat iron with low heat. Now, if you use high heat, like over 440, if you're using a pressing comb or 450 flat iron, then you get into destroying the disulfide bonds. I'm so thankful now that we have these bond multipliers. Olaplex makes a professional traveling kit. for the items number 1 and 2. They don't sell these products at Sephora or Ulta or any of those retail products. This is a strictly patented professional treatment. It's the Olaplex products number 1 and 2. They rebuild the disulfide bonds. I started this flat iron at the bottom of the hair in the nape area, and I work my way up. This gives me better control, and I can lay in the curve and smooth the hair in the direction of the finished style. I'm using 2 different flat irons because I'm dealing with 2 different textures in her hair. She has approximately 1 inch of new growth, and the rest of her hair has been processed with bleach, toner, and a keratin treatment. She's decided she doesn't want a keratin treatment anymore, so now we have to use more heat to process her hair. And that's really the reason why I dropped down from a level 11 platinum hair color to a level 9 ice gold blonde hair color. I dropped down a couple of levels and I changed tones. I changed from a cool platinum to a warm gold. And I changed to the gold because I have to use more heat, and the heat will cause that hair at the root to discolor, right? The temporary color, the toner is sitting on the outside of the hair strand. It's sitting on those cuticle layers. And anything you do to the cuticle layer can affect the color that's on it. And high heat, especially right after giving a color treatment, will cause the hair color to dissipate. The high heat from the flat iron or the curling iron, the Marcel irons, what they do is they simply burn the hair color coating off of the cuticle layers. And once the toner has been burned off the hair, what it does is it reveals the lifted color underneath. So say, for instance, you only lifted your client to a level 8 and you drop a level 9 toner on them and the hair looks beautiful and cool. And then you go in and you use a pressing comb or a flat iron or a curling iron that's over 400 degrees and it's not ceramic. What you're going to do is you're going to burn off that toner and you're going to reveal the lifted color, which is somewhere in that orange range. Even in this session, you can see as I move through the hair, flat ironing and putting in a little body and a C curve, you can see how the ends are tinged a little yellow. As I said before, I lowered her to a level 9 from a level 11. She was a platinum tone, now I've warmed her up to a warm golden tone because I'm going to use additional heat to process her hair. If she was going to keep with the keratin treatment, then I could use a much lower heat to style and process her hair. But because she's going natural, that natural hair is going to need additional heat. And that gets me into the hair color application. Now, this is a root smudge. I applied the toner, the demi-permanent hair color, to the roots first. And in the last few minutes, I drag it through to the ends. In the past, we could never maintain healthy long blonde hair, but now we can. You can buy this flat iron on our platform at beautywellnesshaircare.com. When we're deciding on a hair color for our client, especially high lift blonde hair colors, we have to consider how the hair is going to be processed, how the hair is going to be finished. Are they going to go for a natural look, just shampoo and go, or are they going to do a shampoo set? Are they going to do a blow dry and flat iron? On high lift blondes, I always like to do a keratin treatment. That way I don't have to use high heat on my textured hair clients. High heat from pressing combs and Marcel irons, flat irons, curling irons, high heat on high lifted hair will always destroy the hair color. Speaking of destroying hair color, this damage, it wasn't caused by a hair color, but it was waiting too long between hair color appointments. You see, when you wait to get your bleach touch up, any kind of chemical touch up, what you end up with is 2 different textures on one hair strand. The hair that's been processed at the cortex layer, right? Remember we saw the diagram. All the permanent stuff happens in the cortex layer. And you can see here she has a lot of new growth. And that new growth is virgin hair. It's not been compromised and it's super strong. So when you comb through that hair, especially if you don't have any natural lipids, any organic oils on your hair, when you comb through, the hair will break at its weakest point where those 2 textures meet. Demi-permanent hair colors, semi-permanent hair colors, direct dyes, hair color toners, they sit on the outside of the hair. They sit on the cuticle layers. And those hair colors are super fragile. They fade with any shampoo. And if you use excessive heat, you can burn the color off. Although these hair colors naturally fade, you can do a lot to help stop the fade. Number one is never use hot water to shampoo and condition your hair. Always use tepid to cool water. That will help the molecules stay attached to your hair. Also, don't use any deep conditioning treatments. Anything that's going to cause the cuticle layers to expand, to open, will also cause the dye molecules to release from the cuticle layers and rinse right down the drain with the hair conditioning products. No gel, no mousse, no foam, no silicone. I like to recommend the sulfate-free Brazilian Bond Builder shampoo and conditioning. It's a color care line. I use it at my back bar, I use it on myself, and I recommend it to all of my keratin clients and my hair color clients, and they love it. It is sulfate free and it's sodium free. Sodium is salt, right? Salt can cause the cuticle layers to expand and you lose your color. The worst shampoo to use is the Olaplex retail products. They say they don't have any sulfate in them, and they don't have the traditional sulfate, but they have a new sulfate-like product that's even more destructive, even more drying than the regular sulfates. So I never use the Olaplex maintenance products, only the professional bond multiplier treatment. I'm going to leave the link below. You can buy all of the products that I use in these videos on our platform, especially this nourishing lipid serum. You see, I told you that the lipids and the pigments and the keratin bundles, they're all intertwined. So when you go in there with bleach, you destroy not only the pigments, but the lipids. And that's what's missing when you have high lifted bleached hair. That's why it's so dry and brittle. What it's missing are the lipids. And you can buy our nourishing lipid serum on our platform at beautywellnesshaircare.com.